Boston. As I stated earlier, I'm Aigp Kasingye, the Chief Political Commissioner of the Uganda Police Force. Indeed, yesterday, Honorable Chairperson, I received a note from the Inspector General of Police together with the Director of CID to come and interface with you on the issues that you raised above. Why I am personally involved in this as CPC, it's because I received a call on the 13th of May 2020 by a long-time friend of mine, but also a legal officer who works with the Uganet. She's called Rona Babuetera. I came to know her when she was working on a program on acid victims. And at that time, as CPC, before I went to Interpol, a committee had been formed, chaired by me, to handle cases of acid victims that were increasing in the country. So it was a multidisciplinary committee that I chaired, and that's where I met Rona. She called me at 7:30 p.m. and she wanted to know whether I was watching NBS TV. And I said I was on the way, I had not reached home. I was on the way and I'm not watching the TV. So she told me there is an issue, there is a lady on TV. I think it is one of the programs for it's kind of leisure program where they talk about people in the music industry, people in, I don't know how what do they call them? Celebs. They call them celebs. So they talk about, celebs, what had happened, Rugambo, and that kind of thing. So there was this lady who was explaining how she was sexually molested, but I had not seen the program. Now, she wanted me to intervene and see how we can help this lady. Her name's Nanda Urastera. So I said, it's okay. Madam Chairperson may need to know that one of the departments that I head is the Child and Family Protection Department. So she was calling the right person, since I supervise the Child and Family Protection Department, but this department also handles issues of GBV, gender-based violence. So I said, it's okay, what you do. I asked her, where does Brian White reside? I think she told me after cancer, what's this place? Before Ziga. There's a place, Bunga. I think Bunga or Ziga, something like that. So I said, okay, if it is that area, go to Kabaragara police station. And I think that somehow answers what police station. So I told her to go to Kabaragara police station, and that the following day I was going to send the head of the Child and Family Protection Department. He's going to join her so that they can have this report entered officially in our station diary, and then investigation would ensue. Indeed, the following morning, she went to Kabaragara police station and I had also informed Superintendent of Police Marion Kutusa Marion Kutusa, the acting head of Child and Family Protection Department. I think she went with another officer from her department. On reaching Kabaragara police station, they reported this matter officially in the book, and after that, they went to the officer in charge CID, OCCID, at Kabaragara police station. I got another call at around 10 from Babuetera, and this was like a distress call. She was not happy. This was about 10, 11. No. The next day, they reported like at 8, but by 10, 11, I think around 11, she called me and she was not happy. She was telling me they are in front of the OCCID. The DPC was not there, but the OCCID seemed to call Brian White and they seemed to talk as if they knew each other, as if, it was business as usual, and he didn't seem to think there was an urgency. This is what she said. And I was not happy because really any officer at that level who receives a complaint that there is somebody who is being held hostage in somebody's house, this wouldn't even have to call for someone to call someone who was taken hostage. I don't need, if I was in his shoes, I don't need really to call the person who is holding hostage. I would just go and find out, because I have the powers as a police officer. I have powers. The Constitution gives me, and the Police Act, I think, gives me powers. If you don't open for me, it gives me powers to break in, and I will explain. And if you lock me in, I have powers to break out, as long as I'm saving life of somebody. So when she told me that, I called the regional police commander, Kampala Metropolitan Police South. His name is Senior Superintendent of Police Kakamba. I'm sorry, Madam Chairperson, I don't have the other name right now, but it's called Kakamba. So I called him and brought to his attention this matter. He had not known about it, so I briefed him. I told him his OCCID he's being complained about by the team that was there, but the DPC was not around. Could he handle this matter? And indeed, he called the OCCID, and what they discussed, I don't know. But by 3 p.m., you can imagine this is from morning to 3 p.m., the team decided now to leave, to go to Brian White's residence to try to rescue Stella Nandaura, who was calling, and I think she was using WhatsApp, kind of WhatsApp, video call, and everybody was seeing whatever she was saying. On reaching there, they found the gate of the house locked, so they didn't get any ingress into the property. They remained there. They decided not to leave until when this girl comes out. I think there was somebody who kept opening and asking them what they want. They said, "We are the police. We want to talk to Nandaura Stella." And they said, "No, go back. Go back. We don't know you. Do you have court orders?" and all that. They said, "We are the police. We can identify ourselves." The other lady said, "I am a legal officer. I can identify myself. But there is somebody who needs immediate rescue. And that's why we have come." They again kept calling me. And at that time I called the DPC and I got him. Actually it was OC station because the DPC had gone on leave. So the OC station picked my call and I told him that the officers you have sent to this property are stranded they cannot access Nandaura, and as a DPC, you must act. At 6 p.m., they called me. My commissioner called me that they have got the girl. So they put her in their car and drove her to Kabaragara police station. However, as they were driving, they noticed there was a car that was following them. When they reached Kabaragara police station, they came out with the girl, Nandaura Stella, and they went to the office of the OCCID. And I can say even the OCCID had not traveled with them to this property. It's not like I'm complaining, but I'm telling this committee exactly what happened. Because we have mechanisms of handling this internally, but I'm telling you what happened. On my own, I kept on wondering why an OCCID cannot go when there was even an acting commissioner from my office. And he exactly knew that this matter had been reported even with my knowledge. So when they went to his office, my commissioner told me, Afande, there are people dressed in this is a police uniform, but it is of we call it is it PPU, Presidential Protection Unit, I think. These are officers attached to State House. Okay? They have their own command, unit of command. We provide the officers, but they have their unit of command. And they told me they were at the police station with their guns and that kind of thing. I said, no, it's okay. We all work together. I didn't know where they had come from, but they said they weren't following them. My thinking was that maybe they are attached to Brian White or something like that. I didn't take too much. I didn't want to dig in so much into that. My thinking was that since they are at the police station, that's okay. That was all right. But I think they made a decision. This officer in charge of the Family Protection Department quickly made a decision that they needed to take this lady to police headquarters because they were not sure whether she was going to be safe there. Why would anybody follow someone taken to the police station? And they were armed. So this officer, I thank her. She thought quickly, this was apt, and said, no, we are going to take this lady to police headquarters. The purpose really, I should tell you, was that Lona Babwetera had requested that in the circumstances that Stella Nandaura was traumatized, she needed to have psychosocial support before anybody could start interrogating her, questioning her on what had happened. And that is the standard operating procedure. That's why we created the Child and Family Protection Department, so that they can be able to work with stakeholders if they can, to ensure that every victim of SGBV or GBV in general should first of all have counseling and psychosocial support before anybody comes to interview the victim. That is our standard operating procedure. And going to police headquarters she was supposed to be booked in, and then Uganet signs her officially that they have taken her for psychosocial support. That was the point, Honorable Chairperson. That was the reason. It was not for safe custody to be taken there. No. It was for counseling and psychosocial support. Madam Chairperson, as they drove towards headquarters is in Naguru, they are at Kabaragara. Now, as they are driving, they noted the same car following them. So, my commissioner, superintendent of police, Tusa Marion, called me, and this time, I've never seen an officer really getting agitated. She was saying, apparently people are following us, you know, they have guns, they're following us. I don't know what is going to happen between here and the police headquarters. For us, we are not armed, but they see this is a police vehicle. These are policemen. Why are they following me? I think I got concerned, and I said, okay, because if in our training, if you decide somebody is following you, maybe he's not following you, maybe he's driving in your direction, okay? So what you do, you divert. So I told them, divert. They diverted, they also diverted. So she called me and said, yes, we have diverted there. I said, okay, there are many routes. Divert to another route and see whether they are following you. So she diverted to another route, and they also diverted. Now, that shows that actually they are following them, and I don't want to think what they wanted. Maybe they wanted to, because they never achieved, we never knew why they were following them. Probably somebody should follow them up and ask them, why were they following from up to police headquarters? Indeed, they came up to the gate of police headquarters. Marion Kutusa was Nandaura, with Babuetera, and another officer. They went to police headquarters and went to the first check. Interestingly, the same car came and followed them up to the check. But the check was done and they passed. So they told the officers who were at the check, don't allow those guys to come in. So they were stopped at the check. At the police headquarters, we have 2 checks. So this was the first check. And when they stopped them there, I think they delayed them there, and they were asking them, you people, what is it? What do you want? And by the way, I think, yes, we can see you are putting on like us, but we are going to arrest you. So they turned their vehicle and went back. Madam Chairperson, they called me, and I said, okay, can I talk to Babuetera? I talked to Rona Babuetera. I said, okay, Rona, I don't know where your shelter is, but now you can drive to your shelter. A little bit late now, maybe 8, 9, something like that. So they drove her to their shelter. Probably that's where, for me, I can stop. And then when Rose Nandaura, who is the acting commissioner in charge of Child and Sexual Offences Department of the CID, she can add on. But because you asked some questions about whether there is a report, she's going to come here with a report. I have a report in soft copy, it is here. A full investigation report, it is here. But I told her to print and also come with a hard copy. Probably she can give you a soft copy, or I can give you the soft copy because I have it here. The other one is if there are any complaints, any other complaints. Madam Chairperson, maybe before I finish that, what I was told is after, I think the second day on the psychosocial support program, this lady became a little bit hostile. She became a little bit hostile. And she was saying that she wants to be taken back to her mother. She doesn't want to remain in the hands of the police. She wants to be taken to her mother. I think they tried to talk to her, but they all agreed that indeed they should take her to her mother. And that's what happened. But during that period, some other girl had come up. I think she's called Vivian. I can't recall very well her other name. She came up and she was also talking about the same complaint. She also went to Kabaragara, and for her she recorded a statement to that effect. She did record a statement. And any other complaint is that I saw on, I think it was NBS TV, another girl from Germany. She was also complaining that she was sexually molested by the same Chirumira alias Brian White. Now, the Rose Nandaura, when she reaches here, she would be able to tell you how they are going to reach the other lady who is in Germany. But the normal procedure is that they are supposed, CID is supposed to write to Interpol, and Interpol is supposed to use its Interpol tools, and one of the tools is I-24/7. I'm sorry, I was the director of Interpol, so I know the procedure. So Interpol is supposed to now to write direct to NCB Barin, and then they can take statements. This is mutual legal assistance under a program called mutual legal assistance. Somebody is out of the country, you are here, but you want them to assist you in an investigation. So under that program, MLA, they are supposed to take statements and do whatever they want to do. They can even Zoom. They can do a Zoom session, and then that report will be forwarded to Uganda. Challenges while carrying out this investigation. Madam Chairperson, you will realize that I mentioned that challenge. I mentioned the major challenge. The major challenge, for me, I see about 3 challenges. Number one, which I want the committee to look at. Number one, I get worried as somebody in charge of the rights of women and children within the police. I get worried. These are young people, very, very young people. These girls were in Brian's wife, not one day, not 2 days, not even a month, I think years. Now, the challenge there is, how could we not have picked this? How? Well, this is not one girl, these are not 2 girls, these are not even 3. I want to think. There is somebody who acts like a pimp, I forget his name. Somebody who brings these girls to this gentleman. Sorry? He's like a broker, but I think he's a pimp that's the right English word. So, I think the challenge here, not only in this investigation, but I think we must try to study, to understudy this. Is this a new way of having girls, sexually molested with a guy under the guise of employment, giving them opportunities, and why so much harm is done to this? That is number one. Number two, how this happens, if true, because the investigators are going to come, how this can happen because I don't know what the public would think, because this man was guarded. Yeah? So this man is guarded. So you are guarded, but there is something like that taking place inside. So I think we need to sort this out. we need to sort this out. And nobody in this country, nobody should, under the guise of being protected and whatever, use that to commit offenses, and heinous offenses, including getting people against their will. By the way, even if it was on their will, even if they were there initially, not knowing this was happening, any moment that they detected something like that was happening, then they were being held against their will. So for me, that's the second challenge. And the third challenge in this investigation was that we seem to have been investigating this on the media. I think that there was too much media investigation, and this to me, it's likely to affect the due process, because people dug in and people weighed in this against that. And I think that could have played with Nandaura, Stella, because why should she call the police? Why would she accept to be out of illegal custody? And then later on, she says, no, I don't want to make a statement. In the same media, I saw her being recorded, because now she's out of the police custody. She was on her own, and she was telling Vivian mukwano, bino ebintu bivemu kubanga twabipanga byali bipanze. It's like we sat and organized to tell a lie about Brian White. This lady now, she's saying this, she's not in our custody, she's on her own. We don't know what could have taken place between when she said she wanted to go to her mother and the time she was making a statement. While Vivian, she was making a statement that actually was in tandem with the original statement of yes, which was in media. So I think, Madam Chairperson, we allowed the media to carry out an investigation of such a very sensitive matter. And for me, I believe, I'm not saying media should not, but media should be led by the police, by the investigators. To me, the media should be coming to the public relations officer of the police and ask, how far, because they are right to get that information, how far have you gone with this investigation? But they were the ones now putting it everywhere. And if you tuned in old TVs, they had this. There was Spark, there was the NBS, I think I saw Terefina. Yes, I think I saw Terefina or something like that. And it was everywhere. Madam Chairperson, that to me is another problem of another challenge that we had. So maybe I can stop there, and if there are any issues that come up, then I can respond to that. But we have not received any other complaint by the lady. We haven't received that. But you will realize when she comes, I think there is an issue that needs to be sorted out, because here it is, when she comes, I think this question should be put to her so that we can harmonize. Here it is sexual abuse and violation of rights of Stella Nandaura, but the investigation is talking about human trafficking, talking about illegal detention and trafficking of persons. So I think that needs to be sorted out. I don't know whether they cannot sustain an investigation involving sexual violation to an investigation of kidnapping somebody and keeping that person in your custody. I think that needs to be harmonized. But other than that, I don't know any other complaint. Yes, on media, I saw they have not been paid for their services for quite some time, and that kind of thing. But these are issues that can be identified and sorted out in the investigation. I thank you so much, Madam Chairperson. Oh, she's here. She's here, Nanda Uraros. You can come and sit near me.
I would like to, Mr. Kasingye.
Yes, Honorable Chairperson.
You are mentioning issues that actually are the questions that you're putting to us. Are the very questions that we invited the Aigp, and we suppose that you're here to represent the Aigp in his capacity. We are wondering, you are saying that the case that is being investigated is human trafficking and illegal detention.
Was I right to say that? Very good. Sorry,
Human trafficking. And from the witnesses, they actually said several times they tried to report their case to police, but they failed because you, the police, are friends with Brian White, and you are so casual with him that any case they tried to report was always frustrated. And at one time, that very case, when they reported a case of sexual violence, at one point the case turned into them being accused of, was it theft? Yes. And now I am concerned, Mr. Kasingye, that though the girls repeatedly, even from the videos, repeatedly said they would be beaten, they would be sexually abused by Brown White, the case you have is human trafficking. Is it deliberate by the police? Do you want to tell us that when the girls came to police, they reported the case of human trafficking and they went to the media and talked about sexual violence and they have never reported the sexual violence to you? Secondly, you have told us that Brown White is guarded. As Aigp, can you tell us under which arrangement Brian Chirumira is given this security detail as an individual? What VIP status does he hold in this country to have that kind of security detail? And then you have your OC, CID and the police in Kabalagala. Have you taken any disciplinary measures against the police in Kabalagala because you have expressed your displeasure at the way the matter was handled? What steps have you taken to discipline this officer?
Okay. Madam Chairperson, I will say something, and my colleague, since she's here, she will also come in. Number one is the question of the girls saying that they tried to complain officially to the police, and the police was not giving them a hearing. Madam Chairperson and members, you can realize, first of all, I don't know that allegation. But what I know is that immediately I told you about a lawyer, Rona Babuetera, when she called me. You can judge by my speed of ensuring that the police investigates this matter. And I want to believe that what you have stated may be a question of an individual police officer who did not do her work than the police. Because when you say the police, maybe you don't include me. Because if you say the police did not give a hearing to these ladies, and yet I'm the one who ensured that these girls are picked from her house, from the house where they were. And I kept on the tabs, I put my finger on the pulse of this case until when when they can be heard. Then I'm not part of the police. But if I'm part of the police, then we should pinpoint about individuals whom they could have reported to and they did not act.
Madam Chair, I think let Mr. Kasingye we are looking at him as the head of police.
Yes.
So for us, when we talk about police, it's up to you to tell us which officer. You are here representing the whole police. We don't care who.
I'm coming.
So don't take it like it is about...
Yeah. No. I'm coming. If you followed up the story of these girls like I did, there was no single media report that these girls made, and I didn't listen to it. I followed. These girls at one time said they would go to the town, they would go and make their hair, they would go and make transactions, financial transactions, they would go for purchases. I think they would purchase certain things in their company, Brian White Foundation, that they would go to, I think, some customers or something like that, those that were being given some assistance from Brian White Foundation. You think that they didn't know there were so many police stations? If they were frustrated by they went to report and then they said you cannot report. However, what I agree and what I would say without mincing my own words is about the delay that happened at Kabaragara police station. And maybe Nanda can talk about it. That they reported this matter, they reported there at 8. But by 11 when they called me again, that we seem to think that there is nothing going on. This even includes my officers who had come from Child and Family Protection Department. And that the OCCID was making calls, and to them he was talking to Brian White. If it comes to that, then I think, and I have told this committee, that we are going to have an internal discourse on the conduct of the OCCID at Kabaragara police station. This is what I have told this committee, and this is what is going to happen. But what I want to dissuade, to disassociate myself with the police, is that the police are actually supporting Brian White in this matter, or we didn't listen to the complaints of these girls. I don't think that happened.
Mr. Kasingye,
Rona Babuetera, your close friend, actually told us, and you have told us, that the people who guard Brian White are dressed in police uniform. So, for us from outside, there is no way we can't say that the police are supporting Brian White when they are guarding him.
No. Hold on. No. Can I request my officers to comment on this?
So before they finish up with the comment, Brian White is guarded by people in police uniform. So for us as onlookers, we take it that the police are guarding Brian White. If they are not your officers, why haven't you arrested them? And Rona actually told us that when she entered Brian White's house, these people were standing, 6 of them. Actually, she was so courageous to get out of Brian White's house with Stella Nandaula. Because these people were standing there and they were all armed in your police uniform.
My colleagues seem to think that they were not the police presidential unit guards. Maybe they can, first of all, let's first harmonize on this. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, okay.
I'm called Rosemary. I am the sexual justice and children department of CID. I'm called Rosemary Vega. I am the Acting Commissioner Sexual and Children Affairs Department at CID headquarters.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and the honorable members of the committee. My name is Twine Charles. I'm a Detective Assistant Superintendent of Police and I'm the PRO for CID.
Good morning, Detective ASP Lilian Nachijo, working hand in hand with Madame Rosemary Vega.
Just in reference to what is being discussed about Brian White, I want to give you our stake as investigators in this matter. One, we have, as CID headquarters, we did not receive any girl to us making a formal complaint at police. The complaints were made via social media. And when we got the clips on audio that were circulating, we took efforts to make sure, as concerned officers, to open a case without the complainants. And when we opened up the cases, that is when we learned to know that a certain NGO, together with the Child and Family Protection Unit, had helped to rescue the girl from Brian White's home. Then we started investigations at CID headquarters in liaison with the NGO which was holding the girl in a shelter. The girl was brought to us for interview, statement recording, and doing investigations. And the girl I'm talking about is Nandaula. So when she was brought to us, we did what we were supposed to do. We talked to her that we needed to open up a case against the perpetrator regarding the social media that was running viral. According to us, when we looked at her allegations, they were best suiting a case of human trafficking, which is not only a national case, but a global case, because it encompasses all issues to do with exploitation, the torture, the sexual, and then the elements of having been recruited, transferred, and harbored, kept in detention. So according to the allegations, we thought that the case of human trafficking could actually give a better punitive kind of penalty to the perpetrator if we pursued it and got the relevant evidence in that case. So what we did was to talk to her to help us, give us a basis of investigations, which is a formal statement to the police. Nandaula refused to make a statement to police on allegations that she was not fine. And given the nature of such offenses, we also understand that someone is traumatized and needs to go under counseling for them to be able to speak out. So we requested the NGO to continue keeping her, talking to her, give her strength, and to tell her how we can support her to pursue this case. They kept her for about 2 days. Then they came back with the Honorable Miriam Matembe and told us the girl had refused the shelter, that she was saying she's going to commit suicide unless she's let to go back to her mother. For us, we are not very comfortable with it because we thought that she was not safe going back to the community where the alleged perpetrator could get access to her. So we talked to her and requested her to accept the benefit of a shelter to support our investigations. She refused. And you know, when we are investigating such cases, we also put into considerations the needs of the survivors. So we requested that we cannot just hand her over to anybody. We hand her over to the mother in presence of the area council community, which we did. It was coming to late in the evening. We took her to the home. We handed her over to the mother in the presence of the LOC and requested them to protect her as we are pursuing investigations. As a matter of procedure in investigations, there must be a complainant. And these complainants had not come to us, but later on we found out that there was an earlier case which was not opened up by these same girls, but it was opened up by Brian White, alleging that the girls had stolen his laptops. And this case had been opened up at Kabalagala. So in the case of Kabalagala, it is Brian White actually who is a complainant, but not the girls. And then the girls were traced, arrested, and taken to CMI for interview. And during the interview, that is when they started bringing up the issues to do with the sexual exploitation. So that was in March. And so CMI, because they had alleged the element of sexual exploitation, did not continue with the case of theft of laptops, handed the girls back to Kabalagala, but because they were on a case of theft, they were given bond on that case of theft, and they were handed over to their parents. They were not handed over to Brian White, meaning that these girls at this time were supposed to make a fresh complaint of sexual exploitation now, then being complainants at Kabalagala police station. So that is how I would say that probably there was delay to record that complaint of sexual exploitation. Now the suspects turning into complainants, and when they were released, they just went back to their homes. What have we done so far as investigators? Because one girl whom we had access to did not help us with a statement, that did not stop us from continuing with the investigations. We have taken her medical examination. We have taken the blood samples. We have even written to media houses that are hosting these girls to help us provide us with details of contacts of these other girls, because for us we only received Nandaula, we have not received Vivian, neither have we even gotten contact with a girl who is in German. We have only seen them on Uncut Kalakata. We have not met them, but we wish to meet them because they are raising serious concerns to human rights. So we after taking her for medical examination, we also made sure that she gets a safer place to stay. That is the Ugandan place where she's been, but she refused the safety issue and then she went back home. So on the evidence of our investigations, we arrested Brian White, and we interviewed him and we recorded his statement and we took him for medical examination and we even made search in his home. Whatever we recovered may not be in public, but it is of evidential value. And because we are still waiting for the statements of these girls, we couldn't continue. We only brought DPP on board. We discussed our findings and they have guided us on further inquiries to make as we trace for the girls. We put Brian White on bond and he's reporting on bond. We also got another suspect whom the girls were mentioning still in video clips as the one who connected them to Brian White and also did the relevant investigations that are real necessary to him as a suspect. We have not received Vivian, we have not received the other girl. We have only one file of Nandaula who is also not with us. Given the nature of the offense, we are finding it very difficult to deal with it because of the open kind of the way it has been handled on social media, as it compromises the issue of privacy and our investigations that really have been compromised to that extent. We request that since these people are very comfortable with the Parliament and other agencies, we request that we engage them more to really understand the issue of justice in this case, that without them a case cannot continue in court. We want to have them record statements because we have done everything that is necessary on the parts of the suspects, and it is now the part of the victims that is pending. And I don't think we can really proceed without them. On the issue of deployment of police officers to Brian White's home, I request the PRO to give more light.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Maybe before I go on deployment, allow me first of all to thank you, but most importantly, to communicate that through the guidance of the director and indeed the policy of the police is that we are very committed to dispense of this case with total impartiality. Now, allow me, Honorable Chair, to clarify on the issue where you stated that these girls had reported earlier a case, but they seem to have been ignored. We request Honorable Chair that if there is anything of that kind, please let us get that information and we reinstate. Because to the contrary, what we found, like my boss has said here, these girls had been accused of stealing a laptop. But in their alibi, the statement of denial at the station, and I want to applaud my director, because it's on record that the management of police does not tolerate any kind of errant behavior. But we are in a process of learning. That's actually, we continue learning, because what we found out from the file, we found out that the girls in their statement, they stated that, look, we never stole anything from Brian, but we are running away from sexual harassment. Of course, we want to admit that a wise police officer ought to have now also taken up from that very last statement. You get me, Honorable Chair? But these are the things we have just learned when the director came in. This is not something we knew before. So, like the director has advised and actually committed on behalf of the Aigp, we are going to clean ourselves. If the officer did that either deliberately or probably inadvertently. And Madame Rose, when we are coming almost where we have reached, she had said, can we proceed with this file based on that statement? But, Madam Chair and honorable members, we need to take cognizance that the standard of proof in criminal prosecution is proving the case beyond no doubt. Like she has ably said, during search, which we did on such certificate, Madam Honorable Chair, we applied, a search warrant. We have done everything procedurally. But it's very, very important that even in spite of the procedures we have followed, we should get the input of the victim. How was she trafficked? Because when we are talking of trafficking in persons, we are looking at basically three things: the act, means, and purpose. And like she has ever said, we looked at the offense that carries a bigger punishment. This is, human trafficking is not only a serious issue in Uganda, but it's a global. It's one of the global concerns. So that's why she able to identify the biggest offense. So, Honorable Chair, we really want to commit ourselves that we are ready to investigate this case up to its logical conclusion. But most importantly, let us get the input of these victims. It is very clear that, for example, this lady who's in Germany, it was communicated that she conceived below the age of 17 or 18. Ideally, that would be defilement. Section 129 of the Penal Code has also provision which indicates that when the defilement is done by a master, it even becomes aggravated defilement, which on prosecution successfully can carry a maximum sentence of death. So in the circumstance, we need to prove the following things. One, was there penetration against the victim? Two, was the victim below age? Three, was the victim penetrated by the mentioned perpetrator? But our hands are tied. Victim Lillian has also talked. Fortunately, she has been here. How I wish you had, either through your process, allowed the police, maybe over here, to record her statement. Actually, Honorable Chair, if she had recorded her statement consistently, probably here would be communicating the success of our case. It's very, very important that this lady record the statement. The statement of the victim is very paramount. I need to make this point categorically clear, Honorable Chair. But unlike other cases, trafficking in person has got that vulnerable person called the victim, whose privacy and character is very, very, very paramount. And therefore, police is constrained, first of all, to look for them as though they are suspects. These are victims. When you look at the guidelines, which you honorable members of parliament helped us to pass in 2019, vis-a-vis the international IOM guidelines, these victims must be protected with all the courtesy. Therefore, if we could use your office to get these ladies, it would be very important. Now, lastly, Madam Chair, we did mention the issue of protection. Brian White, as per the officers we met, they are from SFC. The very uniform that guards His Excellency the Vice President, and maybe after the director can further state on whether it's that force that is deployed by police.
PPG. It is called PPG, Police Presidential Guard. Police Presidential Guard. Yeah. These are different from SFC. If you mean the uniform that protects the Vice President, it is PPG, and that's what I stated here. Because, Madam Chairperson, I asked my officers who were following, those who were being followed, can you describe to me the uniform? And they told me the blue, that blue camouflage uniform. And I got to know it is PPG.
So what is
Not
that?
SFC. Please get that out of your records. It is PPG, and that's why I insisted, Madam Chairperson, that these are our police officers. That's what I said.
I would like, from what the public relations officer is saying, he says from their interaction. Did you interact with these officers who guard Brown White?
We identified ourselves,
yes,
like I earlier said, Honorable Chair, at the time of search. We identified ourselves. They saluted us after recognizing us, and they ushered us in, and we did what had taken us there: arrest and search.
And what did they tell you? Where did they tell you they come from? Did they tell you they are from SFC?
Honorable Chair, our going there with the investigating team was specific. We really wanted to arrest and search. After getting no resistance, we found no relevance of asking where they are from.
But earlier on you had said that on your interaction with them, they told you they were from SFC, right?
Madam Chair, can I come in here? I think I was on record. I'm an Assistant Inspector General of Police. I am on record. I have told you the agency that was involved. That agency has a commander, right? I'll give you an example. I give, as Aigp, I'm representing Aigp.
Yes.
I give the police to environment, called Environmental Police Protection. It has a commander, okay? Or I give police to KCCA. Now that police unit has a commander.
You're a police officer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it has a commander. The commander has the deployments where he or she is deploying police officers. It would be unfair if you asked CID that who deployed these people. I think we bring here the commander and explain the nature of deployments that he or she makes. If that is good guidance, then we can move in that direction. because we don't want to commit ourselves and say these people are deployed like this. We give a unit to an agency. That agency, they have the people they protect. And some of this information is need to know basis. So I cannot now come here and say, yes, police guards Brian White. No. We need to get the commander, and you will come here and explain what were the security iniquities that led them to that kind of deployment, which I cannot make.
I think let us pass this to them so that we can respond as we go. If they still have some other issues, please.
Well, they had already presented, and these were follow-up questions. So at this point in time, we can have other questions from members or clarifications or additions from their presentations. Honorable Osege has been, her hand was up before, and Honorable Sylvia. No. Okay.
Madam Chair, I thank you. You know, I am either out of ignorance or I am surprised that the Aigp would claim no responsibility over whatever department of the police that is caught not doing things the right way. Up to this point in time, since this case came up, I would have imagined that they should have taken interest to find out all the details that we are asking.
Exactly.
As a head of police, they should have known and been able to eliminate and say, no, this one is not under us, it is so and so. And even then, I think they can work together, interagency relationship as the forces of Uganda. Now, even if it is from another force other than the police, I would think that in the interest of fulfilling the constitutional obligation, they would have taken interest to finding out, what, if somebody is being tortured and we have a government agency presiding, okay, not presiding because now that means you are overseeing what was going on, but you are in the environment and you are trying to detect and to stop crime and to prevent it. But you are in that environment, you cannot detect that crime is taking place there, and you continue. In fact, they were abating the crime. The people who are there protecting Brian White. And then on your part, you did not take responsibility to inquire into detail. But you are here now taking it down to the level of the commandant of that regiment, if I can say so. You know, I thought at your level, you'd have already gotten that information on your fingertips. Just a minute. So, Madam Chair, I am actually, I think, I'm not yet confused, but I'm failing to understand the powers of the Aigp and the role of the office of the Aigp.
Let's not jam down, Mr. Kasingye.
You know, and two, Madam Chair, the police has a section called Professional Standards Unit. I want to believe that that is responsible for disciplining any errant officer. If there is any case that is outside of the, you know, any behavior that is beyond what is expected, that should have been taken to that Professional Standards Unit. I don't know if it still exists. Unless they think that no crime was committed, unless they think all this case is just hula baloo, there is no substance in it, I would have expected more from the police than what I am hearing. You know, even after noticing that these people were trailing the police and trailing these victims up to the police headquarters,
They were not arrested.
just threatening them and saying, we are going to arrest you, and then letting them go. I thought you would have gotten hold of these people. And no. You don't stick to one thing and leave. allow me to submit. Then you'll tell us if you're investigating something, you don't look at the potential risks around the case that you're investigating. My understanding is that you are you have eyes all around you. When you see
let's stick to that issue.
When you see people trailing a citizen and trailing your officers, and then you just say, "We will arrest you." Who do you want to arrest? So really, forgive because that is my understanding. Some of us have seen the way police acts. Sometimes they say, "We saw you about to commit a crime." They trailed these people all the way from Kabalagala to the police headquarters, but all they got was a threat of arrest. I don't know if I'm changing anything. That is what I had in this place. No, my understanding is you should have been able to close every gap. Maybe that was not what you're investigating, but why did armed people, trail your officers and you just let them go? And the case you are investigating is a sensitive case. Probably you'd have gotten more information from these people. So I don't know. I don't know. You'll correct my understanding because you are leaving that open. It's like somebody else should have taken responsibility for that. No, I think it's. Let me stop at that.
All right.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, when this issue came up through the Uncut Character Program, and indeed it attracted attention of many concerned Ugandans. And Madam Chair, that's how the Speaker directed us to investigate and report to Parliament. It is in that line that we said we must interact with Aigp. Madam Chair, the letter that you sent to the Aigp was very clear. And we would have expected that by the time the team is here, they will be having all the necessary information and facts surrounding this case, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I have a series of questions. There are so many gray areas that must be answered by the Aigp team. First and foremost, Madam Chair, when they said that they interacted with Nandaula, and indeed the first incident was Brian White reporting a case of laptop which was stolen, and the case of laptop was dropped, and then sexual harassment came in. This is my first concern. Here, Brian White was the complainant, not Nandaula. And the case was a stolen laptop. Madam Chair, if you can recall, the various witnesses were interfaced. You remember some dollars that Brian White at first was saying that they took some dollars from him. And now the laptop. So my question here, how did you close the case of laptop? Because the blind white was complaining that laptop was stolen. And then you have said you dropped the laptop case, I don't know, under blind white's instructions, that you dropped the case, and then you took up this case of sexual harassment. 2, when Nanda and Vivian went to CMI, because these were also investigations that were going on. So ever since Nanda went to CMI complaining, and even Vivian, about sexual harassment, what are the measures or what steps that indeed before Uncut Character came in, this is where we are? We had carried out investigations in as far as this case is concerned. Because for us, we are looking at a situation where that the police has not gone into lifting the veil to see what is really behind. Because we know, up to now, we are still taking all this as allegations, but serious allegations, until we make a logic conclusion. And my second last point, when we talk about the security detail of Brian White, I would have expected Afande Kasingye, because the question was, under what arrangement are we providing security to Brian White? Because as far as we know, it's just a mere director of an NGO, as other NGOs. Yesterday when we interacted with other witnesses, even accessing his home, he is heavily guarded. And now, for us, Mr. Kasingye to come and tell us about who is guarding, or that there is someone who is director who is supervising that section. For us, we communicated, we wrote Aigp. We would have expected to come here when you are in the know. We are investigating about Brian White Foundation, and in particular, Brian White Kirumira. So we would have expected you to come here when you know that who is really Kirumira, and who, as police, we are guarding him, under what circumstances, and who is responsible, and what has happened ever since we started guarding him. And why are these allegations? Because telling us that no, there is someone who is responsible squarely for that section, as it is for KCCA, for environment police. I think all those sections are under your control. And you would have come here when you are aware that the person who is under investigation is so and so, and the officer who is squarely responsible is so and so. You would have come here with all the facts of someone you deployed to guard Brian Kirumira, but that has not come out well. If we talk about preventive arrests, it is your norm as police that if you suspect that I'm about to commit a crime, especially on the side of politicians, you do what we call preventive arrests. I don't know whether you have ever thought about that preventive arrest when it comes to Brian Kirumira, because of these various cases. Because if you suspect that if Sebagala is about to move out and he may commit a crime, you arrest him. I don't know what has prevented you to do a preventive arrest in as far as Brian Kirumira is concerned under those serious allegations. Because even even if they are not serious allegations to politicians, you do it. What stopped you from doing that preventive arrest in as far as Brian Chirumira is concerned? And I believe, Madam Chair, that I wouldn't agree with what Madam Nalubega and also Afande Kasingye hinted on it, that this case has gone so viral on social media. And indeed, social media is kind of investigating and making some that is affecting maybe their investigations. I think we have had so many cases that have been under carpet. Therefore, we are not in the know. But social media has come out to expose, and that's why we are here as a Committee of Parliament under the instructions of the Right Honourable Speaker, because of Uncut Character program investigating sexual abuses, human rights abuses of Ugandans. So I believe that what these programs are really, they are assisting us in as far as finding out what has not been brought out publicly, so that we may get interest and we may make a follow-up. So there's no way how that kind of arrangement, that these programs, the live wire, the Uncut Character, have brought up all these concerns that can hinder, I don't know how they can frustrate your efforts in as far as investigations are concerned. Now, if we are talking about Nadaula, but no, we don't know where he is. He went, maybe changed his statement, but as a police officer, I know that even if someone has killed my relative, and I say, we have made a gentleman's agreement, me, I'm not in the case. Government comes out, now we are taking up the case as government. Even if we have agreed with the family, the government comes out that now we are taking up the case. So even if there were allegations that Nadaula dropped or lost interest in the case, I would have expected that the police would continue to find out what is really behind the curtains, and also come out with a conclusive arrangement in as far as this case is concerned. So, Madam Chair, with those few remarks, we still need a lot from police, and we request that we must work together, because if we don't do it, today it is Nadaula, Vivian and others, tomorrow it will be someone else. We are not saying that these are biblical truths or facts, but we know that where there is fire, where there is smoke, there is fire. So let's try to find out if these are false allegations. Then Brian White will be exonerated. But we cannot do that. We cannot say these were false allegations or accusations when we don't do a holistic kind of approach in as far as investigations are concerned.
Honorable Cynthia.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I really don't want to go into explanation, but my area of concern is the Aigp. You clearly said that the PP something is the one headed by another person who are guarding the home of Mr. Chirumira. Are you telling me that since you assign those people, those police unit in that unit, they don't report to you? Don't they report to you? If they don't report to you, where do they report to? Such that you are not aware of the head of that unit, why he or she has decided to deploy to a home of a person who is not even VIP in this country. Secondly, Madam Chair, I want to find out, the Aigp said here openly that when the staff were taking the lady Stella to the headquarters, they were not harmed.
and they were followed. He went ahead to advise them to take another route. Those people continued following them. If your own officers can have such kind of being too scared to the extent of reporting to you repeatedly, what do you expect of a girl who already has trauma and she's seeing the people she has run to more vulnerable than she is? What do you really expect of that person if it is not now running away or even looking for a way of committing suicide? Madam Chairperson, I want to find out from the Aigp. Now that he said those people who had been following the vehicle, they even know their places. They even know where they work, much as they are assigned in other department of guarding. Is it president, police president? You said PP what? PPV.
What is PPG? PPG.
Police Presidential Guard. Presidential Police Guard.
Presidential Police Guard. So on realizing that Presidential Police Guard have started following your police officers seriously, have you inquired from their boss why they were following your officers and this girl seriously? Have you tried to inquire? Because you are so passionate about this case and you are following each and every step. So have you tried to inquire, and what did they tell you? Why were they following this case that you are also interested in? Thank you.
Madam Chair, there is something I propose. Madam Chair, when Afande Kasingye was kind of wondering that these girls used to go to salon and how then wouldn't these girls go to police posts and report because they were free, they were going to salon? I want to tell him that it is true when those girls came here, they told us that Jumila was giving them 1,500,000 to go for salon. And they were very, very clear that they were always very guarded. Whenever they were going, they were supposed to be guarded, go to supermarket, buy, with the guards, they go back. Salon, they are guarded, and then they went back. So I wanted that information to be very clear to police team that yes, they used to move out, but they told us that whenever they moved out, they were being guarded by security operatives who are guarding children.
Madam Chairperson, sorry, I just want to add one. The PRO and Madam Ross say that they could not go ahead with the case because they did not record. You said it is difficult because the people did not record statement. And you were saying if it is possible, if we can find Stella and other people to come to Parliament, that was the PRO, to come to Parliament so that we invite police to record statement from Stella and the friends on the issues of maybe sexual violence, because for them, they don't know where they are and they have not recorded statement. This is what you said. They have not recorded statement. My question is there no way you can proceed with the case without getting this statement from these people, or that one tantamounts to dropping of the case? This is my other question. Thank you.
Thank you, members.
Madam Chair, just one very brief one.
Okay.
Very brief one. Madam Chair, according to communication from the Aigp, he did mention that when he got phone calls, he directed Stella to go to Kabalagala police station to make a statement. I got you. The lawyer.
Continue.
Okay. Because the argument that...
Clarify.
Okay. I thought I got him where he said that he directed Stella to go to Kabalagala police station to record a statement. And my question was, because exactly what Sylvia has just mentioned, that I heard right now the police say that there is no formal complaint or there is no complainant on this subject matter. That's why it makes it slightly difficult to proceed the case. I just wanted to relate what the Aigp communicated and then what the officer also communicated. And I'm seeking clarification on that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, yes, please. In your opening remarks, you say the lawyer, according to her submission to us, which the Aigp also narrated, that she reported to Kabalagala.
Yes.
She made a statement.
She did not make a statement in the morning when she was going to pick, yes.
Yes, but they are saying there is no record of anything reported at Kabalagala apart from Brian White's.
They will clarify. They will clarify. Members, Mr. Kasingye, the letter that invited the Aigp, as you have it, wanted to meet you so that you share with us the steps that have been taken by police regarding the case. And in the ingredients of this case, we find that the accused person is guarded by police. And as Aigp, as you were coming, the community has invited you. I think those would be the very, very first things to prepare for. Because you have secured this person like a VVIP. And then I get so surprised that these police officers trailed your commissioner, but from 13th, today is a month and several days. Nothing has been done. Secondly, the officers at Kabalagala, could you kindly just share with us who these officers are? The OC who was at the station and the OCCID. Yes, please.
Madam Chair, indeed you invited the Aigp, and I have the letter, the copy of the letter. Probably, this is my own thinking. Just like we normally come to Parliament, and you highlight all the issues that you are going to find out. If those issues we are saying we want to know about the nature of deployment, which unit was here, blah, 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 so many. I think the Aigp would have guided me very well. Can I read his instruction to you? He said CPC and Director CID meet with the committee. Then he says CPC, you play, meet with the committee. CPC, you play a role in rescuing this guy. You play a role in rescuing this guy.
And we appreciate it.
Attend
we really applaud you for
any technical person you wish. I thought that my coming here would be able to narrate my role, the role I played in rescuing this guy. Madam Chair, I have tried to be as candid as possible, and as candid as I have always been throughout my 31 years in the police. I'm candid, I call a spade a spade. I don't sweet talk. I'm known for that, and I'm happy that I can do that. I would have chosen not to tell you that these officers failed, but that should not be again used against me, because you see, Madam Chairperson, indeed I am representing Aigp here, but with a specific role. I am requesting therefore that I go back and ask and I find out which unit is this, what are the names of these people, why were they deployed, and that kind of thing, then I come back here. But now to dig in and say, I must tell you, these people, how were they deployed there? Really? At this, because I'm representing Aigp, I can represent Aigp, but you can ask as many questions about the police. If I don't have them, please, you will excuse me.
No, Mr. Kasingye, we are not going to sacrifice you for this, but I think the Aigp took the case very lightly and did not, yes, he did not dig into the details of this case before sending you, because you should have come.
That's why.
Yes.
That's why I say, for example, if we come to the committee, let me say, on budget, or if we come to the committee on the public accounts, they would say, police, you are coming, but the issues are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this one is saying, let me first make this point.
There is what they call follow-up.
This committee invited Aigp, and it said that the committee is concerned over the alleged sexual abuse and violation of rights of Stella Nandaura and the rights of other women by Brian Chirumera, alias Brian White, broadcasted on NBS television on Wednesday 13th May. The Right Honorable Speaker directed the Committee of Human Rights of Parliament to investigate this matter and report back to the House. Now, this is what was given to us. But if you had gone ahead and said, we want to know the deployments,
some of these matters have been arising.
Would have been here.
We sent out these letters, and some of these matters have been arising out of the witnesses that come here, out of the people who come that we talk to.
And you don't follow your investigation.
Mr. Kasingye, excuse me. To you, in this case, while the people who guard Brian White, as they were trailing the victim, it doesn't occur to you that any step needs to have been taken, and when you're coming to the committee, you will have to answer this. And we are not diverting you from anything, Mr. Kasingye. And this person has been accused of sexually abusing these people, and he's guarded seriously by your own police. So don't you really?
Madam Chair, I think our letter is very clear.
That letter has no problem.
Very, very clear, Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Is that you didn't prepare for this. You didn't go into the details. Actually, the police is taking this case very lightly.
And Madam Chair, I wouldn't really buy the idea of Afande Kasingye, with all due respect, that he would have gone into all the nitty-gritties. The underlining word there is Brian White being investigated in as far as sexual abuse, allegations of sexual abuse is concerned. Definitely, we would have expected him that yes, they're investigating Brian White about all these allegations. Who is Brian White? You would have come here under the directive of the Aigp when you know the person we're investigating. Under what circumstances is this person being guarded altogether? So we wouldn't have expected that. We would have told you, please, want to know ABCD, because we told you we're investigating this person. As we would have said, we were investigating Afande Kasingye. Someone would really know who is Afande Kasingye before coming here.
He's guarded by police, he's what? You know?
Madam Chair.
The officer wants to say something first.
No, let's
Madam Chair, sorry, I'm late. My name is Abbott Jojo Uma. I represent the people of Bukoli Islands in the Mango district. I'm a member of this committee. Madam Chair, when someone is appearing before the committee and is delegated, and the officer is saying maybe...
It's not hearing, Madam Chair. They are for another mini meeting. Maybe you want to go to the way first. Yes.
So, Madam Chair, I was saying that with due respect to the officer, he was delegated, the Aigp was called in person to appear here. Then the Aigp has delegated him, but I think the terms of reference are not well understood with him. That automatically means proceeding will not make us reach where we want. The committee would make a decision and then make the Aigp to appear in person to answer the questions. That's how I'm seeing it, because when we begin, he's saying I was not told you to come and answer this, I was not told to come. By the way, you cannot be told to answer everything, because matters come. I was harassed, I was beaten, you need to all know about that one. I was sexually harassed. But now that you are just saying that I'm supposed to go by what the Aigp told me, but automatically this committee should make a decision and say the officer who has been brought to answer the questions as directed by the committee is not following. So the Aigp himself should appear. That's how I think I'm seeing it, other than we're trying to beat about the bush. Thank you very much.
Please go ahead.
Madam Chair, okay, we appreciate all your concerns. Really, this is a very big case, not to only you, but even to us. And as we have told you, we are still investigating. We have not conclusively investigated the matter. It is still under investigation, and that part is going to be filled up. But so far, what we have been looking at are the offences and what amounts to the evidence. One member here said that we dropped the case. The case of theft was dropped. The case of theft was not dropped, but because an alibi came in, so that is why these girls were given a bond on that case to investigate the alibi. It is true that if the officers were professional enough, they would have entered a new case to look into the alibi of sexual exploitation. And that was not done, and that brings in professional issues, which I think should be handled by the Professional Standards Unit, as you have suggested. Then why did you close the case of laptops? So the case of theft of laptop was not closed, but because they made allegations, it was halted, I think, to give gap for the officers to investigate the new allegations, which was not done. Nandaula went to CMI complaining about sexual harassment. What were the measures of her going to CMI? I think the purpose of taking Nandaula to CMI was not for her to complain sexual harassment. It was for interrogation purposes, because Brian White had alleged that they had stolen his secrets on laptops. And that was kind of confidential documents and information, according to his allegations. And so these girls had been taken to CMI for interrogation. And the officers at CMI were diligent enough. When these girls said no, for us we did not steal. And actually these girls were giving good defenses that by the time we went out, we only had the money pass. And it is Brian White who gave us a car and people to escort us. So we had nowhere to put the laptops. And so we didn't steal the laptops, but instead we are learning from his sexual harassment. So the officer said, now it's time, the case has twisted. Let's leave these girls, get the details of these girls, hand them over to Kabalagala, police for them to get a bond because we are holding them on a case which also has brought in other issues for investigations. Now, someone also talked about preventive arrest. At this moment, it is not preventive arrest. It is reactive arrest because already there is a matter in contention. And so, as we arrest, we should also think about the implications of arrest. Are we just arresting for the purpose, for the sake of arresting, or we are arresting to have someone prosecuted, protect the victim, such that it acts as a punitive measure to the rest of the world who are intending to commit the same crimes.
Because we are always arrested on perception that we are about to commit.
So this is very specific, and already there is a matter in contention, and so it is not preventive. It is now reactive. And the evidence we have will help us to even deter others who are planning to commit the same crime. So what I'm asking the Parliament is that if these girls have opened up to you and they feel very safe with you, we can join efforts, come interview them, because at the end of the day, you will have no case without a complainant. She's the one who has been abused. They are talking about elements of being forced to abort. We don't know the hospitals where they have been taken to abort. They have to tell us which hospitals, who are the doctors. If it was sexual abuse, was it only sexual abuse, or there were other abuses within the same nature? So it will help us to come up with elements of the offense, and still we shall be able to conclude this matter in a very remorseful way. He has talked about protection of the victim. The law is very clear. The Trafficking in Persons Act, Section 13, talks about protection of the victims. It talks about the principles of confidentiality, the principles of privacy, and the principles of neutrality, and the trauma-based trauma-based approach of handling victims. And I think by the way, when the victims go much on the kind of public, it kind of re-traumatizes them. And we also understand the Stockholm syndrome of victims of human trafficking. They are always on and off because they look at perpetrators as being the only people to provide a living to them. So as they talk, at the back of their mind, they are thinking of where to get a living. At the end of the day, they are going to start changing statements. And this has applied to Nandaula. One video was saying, I have been abused. Another video was saying, there are people using us. We want her to come and tell us. We want to talk to her in a friendly way, to be able to tell us if it is really people have been using them. Who are these people? But we also have at the back of our mind that this could be a kind of threat within themselves that they're fearing for themselves. And so we need to have them protected in order to have their confidence in us in handling their matter. So I think it's a matter of joining hands. Help us get the victims to give us more clarification on the areas that would really support our case in court. We have also looked at, is there a way of proceeding with a case without a complainant? In certain cases, the state is the complainant, but the victim is a witness. And so if the victim is our principal witness, even if we continue with this case, we shall need a victim to be either cross-examined or interviewed in court in order to testify and come up with evidence in court. So on the issue of the guards, we are investigating, we are going to investigate, but we should also have it in mind that by the moment a person is guarded, there are procedures that have been followed. And these are formal procedures. He could have written and actually indicated a security threat, and then deployment took place. But that alone is not enough. We need to find out who deployed and for what purpose. But that one does not in any way conflict with our other investigations, because for us we are looking at what exactly proves human trafficking. And so those ones can come in as added information to support our case. I see, oh thank you. So we have tried to call these girls on several occasions on phones. We have not gotten them.
Maybe information. Since you have said you have tried to call and interface but in vain, have you ever tried to interface with Brian White against the allegations?
Yes, we arrested Brian White. We made a search in Brian White's home, and I told you we got documents of evidential value, which I would not talk here because they compromise our investigations.
Yes.
And I've told you that on the side of the suspects, we believe we have done what is really necessary. Now we are only left with the side of our victims. And I am saying we need our victims, and we need them not only to be interviewed, but we also need them to go through psychosocial, to go through protection, victim protection, to enable us have a case up to the logical conclusion. The numbers we have said, we have called them and we have not gotten them, but we have also taken initiative. We wrote to UCC and even wrote to ANCAT. We requested them to help us reach those girls, and we are still waiting. I don't think they have refused, but I think they are preparing them. And I believe even here, the committee can really give us those girls because we need them and we are concerned about the case.
Actually, when we met with NBS, they said they have only been sharing what they got on social media, but they have never met Stella Nandawa. And I would like to find out from you, where exactly did you search? Which home of Brian White? Did you go to a home? Did you go to the offices of the foundation? Because he has where he runs his activities of the foundation, and that is the house which he uses to abuse these girls. Yes, where he allegedly abuses the girls, and then he has a home where he resides. And then when you went to this house, what setting did you find? Did you find there other people? Did you, when you interacted with Brian White, does he know where Stella is? We expected such issues because it is alleged actually that Stella went back to Brian White.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you so much. And you know, when an offense is reported, we come up with a list of what we think can prove that case. And so much as we may look for other evidences as we search, sometimes we go on target. If you have talked about abortion, I may be interested in getting receipts or medical documents relating to abortion. Okay, no, now I'm not investigating abortion, I'm investigating human trafficking. But what proves exploitation is the abortion. And for me to prove that there was abortion, I should get documents relating to abortion. And then in most cases, to have proper search, you must go with the victim. Because the victim will show you, I have been abused on that bed. You may not get forensic evidence there, but at least you have a picture of the place where the abuse has taken place, and you can be able to draw a sketch plan that can help in guiding the magistrate or the judge presiding that offense, because they are not going to the field, but they need to know exactly what happened to the ground. So we didn't go with Nandaula, as I have told you. She she said she was not feeling okay to record a statement with us. And that one is okay because we know such victims are traumatized, and even then we are not supposed to rush them to make statements. We wanted her to first heal, and so we couldn't go with her because by the time we prepared to go and search Brian White's house in Muyenga, the victim in Buziga, the victim had now escaped from the mother.
Yes.
We didn't find her in the home. We don't know whether it was deliberate that she hid herself, but we didn't find her there. But the mother was telling us she's not with her. The interaction with the other people, of course, they were interviewed, the security officers who were found there, and other people in the hall, because we wanted them to give us what they have seen and what could really help our investigations. So we interviewed them and recorded their statements.
How many people did you find in that house?
Honorable Chair, you know, it's so unfortunate that what we really found out, can I read that? Is of evidential value. And it was recorded with our SOCO, Senior Crime Officer. It's true, Honorable Chair, that we proceeded there with some also kind of information that that girl had escaped and gone back to Brian's residence. I can confirm to you, Honorable Chair, that our team did a comprehensive search in all the rooms, in all corners, with the view, one, of identifying whether Sarah is there, two, with the view of establishing any material that may be of evidential value in respect to the case under inquiry, which is trafficking in persons. Madam Chair, the trafficking in persons we are talking about, if successfully prosecuted, it carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. Now, like the director was saying, even the issues of guards being there, Honorable Latif talked about the trailing and intimidation. It is part of what we are investigating. Because if you intimidate, if you unlawful confine, it also justifies that you are actually part of this scheme of trafficking in persons. So the Aigp is going to clarify on how they were deployed. But I would beg Chairperson that the focus should be what were the activities done using these guards, so that it can probably justify the allegation of trafficking in persons. And we are not going to try on that. And we are not going to try on that. And we are not going to try on that. And we are not going to try on that. And we are not going to try on that. And we are not going to try on that. And we are not going to try on that. And we are not going to try on that.